Welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio. I'm your host, Deborah Bailey. And when I started this show in 2008, I was on a mission to promote women-owned businesses and help women succeed by providing resources and valuable tips from other women and men, small business owners. In each interview, my guests speak openly about their triumphs, the scary times, and tough decisions they had to make along the way. Women Entrepreneurs Radio is about showing women how to harness their natural strengths to achieve success on their own terms. Hi everyone, welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your host, Deborah Bailey. I am really glad that you could join me today. And if you're listening to this show, you may listen on Podomatic or you're listening on iTunes. You can also listen to this show on Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube. There are several podcast platforms where you can find it. So if you really want to know where else you can listen to the show, you can go to womenentrepreneursecrets.com and click on podcasts in the menu bar, and you can see a list of different platforms where the show is available. So you can definitely listen on your favorite platform. Also, if you're interested in being a guest on the show, you can find the guidelines there on that same page. You can download them, and it gives you instructions on what to do. Also, if you're listening to this show on iTunes, you're listening on your iPhone, your iPad, you could just scroll down and you can leave a review. You can also leave your stars. 5 stars is wonderful, but you can leave a little review of the show, and that helps the show be found by more listeners. So if you could take a moment to do that, that's much appreciated. Also, you can find out more about me at thebaileycoach.com. You can find out more about my books and my coaching and things I've got going on. And also my site for my fiction is brightstreetbooks.com. So I hope that you will stop by there as well. I really would appreciate it. So we're going to get started today with my guest. And the craft of acting is as alluring as it is mysterious, and it takes a being of great passion, insight, and determination in order to succeed. But to teach acting and to inspire creative souls to successfully harvest those tools requires an even greater commitment. To bring out the best in each and every actor one encounters, that passion is the hallmark of the career of filmmaker and acting coach Michelle Danner. For decades, one of the industry's most respected teachers and now successful director who continues to grow and expand her creative universe. Welcome to the show, Michelle. Really great to have you.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really happy that we could connect. And, I really want to get started talking a lot about what you're doing right now. But if we could start with the question I usually ask my guests as to how you got started on your journey.
Well, I think that as a very young child, I was in the middle of a show business environment. My father opened the very first William Morris agency in Paris. He was the president. And as a little girl, I remember being under his desk when some really famous performers, actors, came to see him. And people came over for dinner, and I would, at a very young age, was told that imitations of Ed Sullivan, of Judy Garland, of Alfred Hitchcock. And then as I grew up in Paris, in France, and I was exposed to, a lot of books, and I was an avid reader and loved literature, and started to take classes and mounted productions in my school, adapted The Queen's Necklace by Alexandre Dumas, and cast the whole school. So the teacher loved me, but they also had a love-hate relationship with me because, I created something wonderfully artistic, but I completely messed up everybody's schedules. So my love, continued as I moved back into New York City and got the chance to study with icons, such as Stella Adler and Uta Hagen and Herbert Bergdorf. I studied with Bella Esper. I mean, I had a slew of teachers, and learned a great deal, and continued to read a lot, and continued to act, as part of many plays. And then I moved to Los Angeles, where I'm continuing my creative journey here.
Well, that's fantastic. That's a great a journey that you've had, actually. So you really had a lot of different experiences that have shaped you.
Absolutely. I've traveled all over the world because I also teach all over the world, and I have 2 boys, and I take them with me, and we're explorers. And so we're constantly, exploring and having adventures. I always say, if I'm going to teach in Lima, Peru, then I'm taking them on an adventure. I'm taking them to see Cusco and Machu Picchu. It's been so far a great ride.
That's fantastic. So can you also share with us about your acting coaching that you're doing? What is that about? And, how do you present that? Classes or private lessons? Or, could you just share more information about that?
Yeah, so at some point, because of all the studying I've done and my passion for acting, my passion for literature, I started to, realize that actors were asking me to help them, to work with them. I was good at it. I was good at breaking scripts down, insights about, creating characters. I've always seen lots and lots of plays and movies, and now, of course, with the golden age of television, TV shows. Mm-hmm. So I've always been always 1-2 movies a day. And so I started teaching, one-on-one, and then classes, and then I discovered a beautiful space in Santa Monica that was designed by the architect Frank Gehry, and built 2 theaters and an art gallery there in the year 2000. And then we have a great acting school with a faculty and tons of, wonderful, challenging classes for a community of passionate actors. And then I just, my, philosophy is to embrace every different, from the method to Stella's work. I believe that every philosophy in acting, there's things that are so helpful, and that actors have to form their own toolbox, their own golden box, mm-hmm. and put all of the tools that they learn, all the technical tools in that box, everything that they learn from working on set or on stage, and then life lessons, the tools that you learn in life. All these go into that very, very unique golden box that is, each actor has their key to their golden box. Mm-hmm. And so I don't believe in when things are dogmatic, that there's only one way of learning. I think there's so many different ways of expanding yourself, and traveling is one of them, and reading a lot. I have a very strong message to all of my students, which is read fiction, read all kinds of different books, read plays, read screenplays, read about philosophy, read about traveling, expand yourself. Mm-hmm. So, I was lucky enough, I built these theaters. There's a great acting school in Santa Monica, 1 block from the beach. And, and then students come and they work out, they go to the gym, and then they go to the beach. They go surfing, they bicycle around. Everybody's creative. We have a very strong message of being proactive, create your own work, make shorts, do web series, do plays, do readings together, make movies. So there's an incredible energy when it comes to that. In our studio, kids, come to class and they've been up all night shooting, and they still come to class, and they still understand the value of the gym.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a wonderful environment.
Yes, I think so. I love this combination of learning and doing. Mm-hmm. Because you're constantly learning, and then you have to push yourself to do all the time.
Yeah, that sounds like that would be really, really conducive to learning and creativity and all of that. And, what you're saying is very interesting, because I am someone who has always watched a lot of old movies, like on Turner Classic Movies and things like that. And even before that channel was really, preeminent. and just kind of reading a lot of things about the actors and acting and them saying like, say at some point there were the people who learned a lot of the newer techniques and things of acting, and then they kind of came up against a lot of the probably older Hollywood type of acting that was totally different. And I guess in the more modern movies that there was like this kind of conflict between the different styles of acting.
Right.
Because, yeah, it wasn't the same at all.
Yeah, there's a wonderful story about it in a book that Sidney Lumet wrote on making movies. He said he was directing a play at the West End, and he had all of these theater stars and all of these movie stars, and everybody came from different techniques. Some of them were self-taught, some of them were the methods, some of them, and he said the bottom line is that he asked everybody to just listen to each other. Just listen and take what the other person is saying. That as the basis of everything. But people come from different methods, different techniques, but ultimately for a common goal, and the common goal is to, be truthful in those imaginary circumstances, is find the truth and create a compelling character and move an audience. Because actors, I always say, are teachers. No matter what your technique is or what what you've studied, you're all there to teach about humanity.
That's a
to hold a mirror up, to our society, to remind them who they are, to teach them about who they are, and to let them know who they are. It's a great craft to be an actor. I love actors. I love what the craft is about. It's a fascinating journey.
So, will you tell us about, you have a film, Bad Impulse? Will you share a little bit about that?
Yes, I have a film that people are loving. We're getting into the festivals. We've won some awards. It's called Bad Impulse. Wonderful cast. Sonya Walger, who was in Lost and many other things. Grant Bowler, who had his own series on Defiance. Paul Sorvino, which we can't forget. Paul Sorvino. James Landry Herbert. I love this actor. He also was once upon a time in Hollywood. He's great. And who else? Just a great cast. And it's a fun psychological thriller with some supernatural and horror in it. And if you like to be scared or you like to take a roller coaster ride, then I've been told, at the beginning, I lost perspective because obviously when you're making the movie, but people are telling me it's scary and entertaining. So I love that, yeah.
Well, that sounds good then.
Nobody, if people would know me, they would never think I would make this kind of movie.
Oh, really?
I probably would make either a romantic comedy or, a farce or a love story or romance movie. But I love thrillers. I really do. I love things that keep you on the edge of your seat and you don't know what's going to happen and your heart starts to beat. I love those experiences.
So this is the first kind of movie like that you've made?
Yeah, I think so, because my first movie was How to Go Out on a Date in Queens. That was a romantic comedy. My second movie, Hello Herman, with Norman Reedus and Garrett Backstrom, was an intense drama. My third movie, The Bandit Hound, was a movie with dogs and kids, so it's a family movie, a family adventure movie. And Bad Impulse, this last movie that now is going to be released next year, is the psychological thriller. And now I'm in pre-production for another movie that I'm shooting in a few weeks called The Runner, and that is a suspense action thriller.
So it sounds like that's something that you're really enjoying exploring.
I like to explore the different genres. Probably I love romantic comedy, but I love things that are, suspenseful. I love suspense. I watch a lot of that. It always keeps me interested. So I think I'm making those movies right now. I'm in that era.
So where will you be filming that? And can you share a little bit about what that's about?
Yes, I'll be filming in LA. I watched a news report 2 years ago that moved me to the core about how police officers, grab kids that they suspect sell drugs and get them to wear a wire so that they can really bring up the big drug dealer, the big kingpin of the town. And then sometimes, tragedies happen. There's these kids are sacrificial lambs. And I'm always very attracted to the theme that deals with kids and our kids falling through the cracks and spiraling out of control. And so I that theme really resonates for me. And I wrote a 3-page treatment. I was crying as I was writing it. And then a week later, I called a friend of mine who's the writer of Bad Impulse, Jason Chase Terrell. And he's a great writer. And I said, could you write this story for me? Here's the treatment. And some of it was inspired by true events. And he did it. He wrote a great screenplay, and that's what we're shooting in a few weeks from now. And we got lots of great actors in it. This young actor that was in my class, Edouard Philippon is his name. He's going to play Aiden. And Cameron Douglas is going to play the Detective Wall. So, and then we're going to announce the rest of the cast fairly soon.
So how long does it take for you, once you've started and you have an idea and you're putting that together, how long does it really take before you start to assemble everyone that's going to be working on your production?
Well, it does take about a month, 2 months to put it together. I do it fairly quickly. I also reach out a lot to my relationships. I cast from my gut. I watch a lot. I have a lot of relationships, lots of actors. I have a full Rolodex of actors. So, it's easy for me to cast. It's not difficult. I have a very strong vision about who I feel should play it.
That sounds really exciting that you can do that and you can have an idea of who you see in these different roles, so that you can really start to pull things together relatively quickly.
Absolutely. It's all about having vision. And really the director is the one that, holds the key to the whole thing. I mean, they're the captain of the ship. So you really need to visualize it in their heads.
Right. As to what you're going to do. So you were also the artistic director at Edgemar Center for the Art.
Center for the Art.
Yes. So how is that? What productions do you have coming up there, and how is that experience?
Well, we have lots and lots of things happening all the time. It's a very thriving cultural arts center. But for us, we have an annual film festival called Cinema at the Edge. The next one is at the end of February, where we premiere lots of narratives and shorts and documentaries. And, everybody loves to come to the festival and watch movies. And we have a show coming up in February that we're in rehearsals for right now with Ann Archer. And it's called A Ticket to the Circus, and it's about the life of Norman Mailer's wife, Norris Church Mailer. He had lots of wives, but she was the last one, and the one that stayed with him the longest, for 30 years. There's a wonderful book that a writer, Bonnie Culver, adapted to a one-woman show, and Anne is going to be starring in that. So that's a very, very, I think, exciting theater event, and it's a world premiere.
So, how long have you been working with that center as their artistic director?
Well, I built it in the year 2000. I discovered it in 1999, and I snuck in there illegally in the middle of the night with a flashlight, scared to get arrested. It was really scary. And at the same time as I was scared, I was having this out-of-body hallucination experience where I saw lights and applause and saw people and lots of creativity. And I went home the day after and I said, oh my God, we need to find a way to get this to happen, but I knew nothing about it. And then I found out other actors were trying to make it happen, but they were having a hard time because of the city, the permits, the neighbors. And I was like, but these places, we have to make something happen. So then they left and I came in. And I was able to, because of my passion and also because It was before I had kids. I don't know if this would play itself out the same way after childbirth. But before childbirth, I was able to raise $1 million and always joke that I know more about drywall, electricity, plumbing than I would ever want to know. And yeah, we cut the ribbon in 2000. Steven Spielberg and Kate Capshaw, who were quite generous and gave us a donation, came to the opening ceremony. And it's been, magical. It's been absolutely magical since then.
Interesting, considering how it started out. If you were,
I know.
You wouldn't have dreamed that would happen.
No, but things are meant to be, because there were a lot of obstacles with getting this done. And, I certainly have found out in my life that when it's meant to be, no matter what kinds of obstacles are in the way, it's meant to be.
That's a good way to look at it, actually. So you also run the Cinema at Edge Film Festival. What is that about?
Yeah, so we have accepted films from all over the world. We have a committee that watches them, and I watch them, and we have a great slate of up-and-coming work. It's a real grassroots film festival, and there's so many great movies that are done. People can just pick up a camera, and as long as they have vision and they have a story, they can make a movie. So we have packed screenings and parties and Q&As and panels, and it's a very vibrant festival.
If someone wanted to submit a film, how would they go about that?
They would go to cinematheedge.com, and then they could submit it to Film Freeway.
And when do you have your festival?
It's February 20th. I think it's coming up next year, fairly soon. We'll blink and we'll be there.
That's true.
Still submit film. But we will blink and we will be there.
That's true. Time goes by so quickly, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. So, Michelle, if you could please share with everyone any websites or social media where people can find you.
Yes, you can go on michelledanner.com, and you can go to let me see here. I need my glasses for this. allinfilms.com for the movies, and the Instagram is All in Films Productions and Michelle Danner LA.
So it sounds like with all of this that you have going on, that you are a very busy person. How do you manage it all?
Yes. Well, I do one thing at a time. I have lists. I'm very proactive, and I love what I'm doing. I mean, I think that's the key at the end of the day, is that every, one of these endeavors fuels me because I truly love it. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't challenges along the way. I'm in pre-production right now, and of course, my heart is beating, and this avalanche is falling on me, and I feel overwhelmed because I would be insane if I would not. So, every step has its obstacles that you have to overcome. But then, and I also like to relax, and I like to swim in the ocean, and I like to take vacations. So I work hard, and then I relax as well.
That's good. Sounds like you have a good balance there with recreation and also with your work.
I absolutely do.
So I guess with anyone who may be listening, who may feel that they would really love to have this kind of creative life and get into acting and that kind of thing, do you have any words of advice for those people?
Absolutely. Just do it. Just go for it. Don't wait. Don't hold back. Don't, be like Scarlett O'Hara tomorrow. I'll deal with it tomorrow. Deal with it today. Do it today.
Right.
Yes, do it.
Yeah, because a lot of times people are afraid to step out because they feel that they can't do it. And especially it seems when it comes to creative life, people are always telling people what they can't do. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, tell yourself what you can do.
That's true. That's true. That makes a total difference, of course. So, looking over what you have accomplished, what you continue to accomplish, would you have thought that you would be doing what you're doing right now? That you would be where you are at right now?
I remember going back, I never really gave it that much thought. I just did it. No, but yes, of course, I've always known that I, was an artist at heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that calling was that. Did I know that I was going to teach? I think I did know at a young age, absolutely. And I wanted to give something back. I wanted to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was clear about all of the things that I wanted to do, and I'm very crystal clear about it now. I know exactly the movies that I want to make in the next few years, and then I have a son who's a filmmaker, so I'm certainly
Mm-hmm.
going to support him in anything that he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I have it pretty much mapped out for the next however many years I get to live on this earth.
Well, it sounds like you really have gotten the opportunity. You have the opportunity to really create a lot and work with a lot of different people. And it sounds like it's a really ideal thing. And, I guess I just have another question for you. In terms of how a lot of people have been taught about the creative life, and they have often been discouraged that they're not going to be able to survive. And it sounds like what you're doing is the complete opposite of that. So, for that person who really wants to maybe do a lot of the things that you're doing, what would you say to them that maybe they've been hearing discouragement from their family and friends that they will never be able to do this?
I think that you have to isolate what it means to do the work,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to risk it, and you have to remind yourself that it's a risk to not take a risk.
Mm.
And so you can't play it safe. You have to be unsafe, because in that will come growth.
Mm-hmm.
In that you will raise the bar. And so, and you especially, I think you have to push yourself. You have to do it, whether it has to do with discipline or, we're all afraid. Everybody has fear.
Mm-hmm.
But do it when you don't want to do it.
That's a good way to put it, because often that's the thing. When people want to do or say they want to do certain things, and then they may not feel like doing it in that moment. So
exactly. And I've always joked for many years I never want to do anything at all. I always push to do it, and it comes out at the end,
Right. That's a great way to look at it, I think. And for people to hear that, you're saying that, there are times when you don't want to do it, but you push through. So I think that tells other people that yes, it is very possible for them to do,
absolutely,
follow what they feel that they have to follow and create in the world. So, this has been really wonderful, Michelle. Do you have any final thoughts to share?
No, I always love to, I don't know, who's going to end up listening, but, I do love to talk about creativity, because I think that if you have it in you, if you have that creative gene, if you have to honor that, and you have to find a way to do it no matter what. And if you are someone that has children like me, and you feel like it's hard to balance that out, I feel that by showing your children that you are the first one to pursue your dreams, it's the best thing that you can teach them in terms of when they get to pursue theirs.
So I think you've said it best. I don't really have to add anything to that. That was perfect and wonderful. And Michelle, I'm so glad that we were able to connect. And I thank you so much for taking the time to share everything with us today.
Thank you so much. It was truly a pleasure. Thank you.
So everyone, I know you enjoyed this show. Please make sure that you share this with your friends, share it with social media. Definitely let everyone know to listen in. And, as I asked in the beginning, please make sure that you share your feedback about the show. That was always very helpful for getting the show out to more listeners. So once again, to Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your host, Deborah Bailey. I want to thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. You can also join in the conversation on facebook.com/women entrepreneurs and on the website womenentrepreneursecrets.com. And don't forget to listen in on dvcoach.podomatic.com and on iTunes.